Okay, now we are going to do gathers. Okay, so let's say if our seam allowance is 1.5 cm. Okay, let's say if our seam allowance is 1.5 cm. Okay, we draw a line first lah. Okay, once we have this 1.5 cm seam allowance, we need to know that we are going to create gathers. So I'm going to have like maybe like 0.5 cm, which is okay, which is like 0.5 cm line on top of the seam allowance. This is the seam allowance line. Okay, on top and the bottom of the seam allowance line, I'm going to draw another 0.5 cm. Okay, so I'm going to do gathers now. Okay, so this is the seam allowance. I'm not going to touch the seam allowance now. Okay, so I am going to do the top and the bottom. I'm going to sew the top and the bottom now. I will show you guys how. Okay class, this is my sewing machine. So these are all the things. So I'm sewing this straight line, so I just keep this here. And previously when I sew usual normal lines, I would actually use like line number 2 or number 3, the tension. Okay, but to sew gathers you have to use the maximum one. Alright, so if you use school sewing machine, it will be number 5. If you use a portable machine, it will be like number 4. Okay, so now I've set the machine. Okay, so I'm going to sew my gathers. Remember just now I say the seam allowance is 1.5 cm, so I'm not going to sew this tension on the seam allowance, but I'm going to sew using number 4 in my first line and also the third line. Okay, so I'm going to sew now. Okay class, I'm gonna start sewing, but I want to remind you guys one thing. When you are sewing gathers, you actually don't need to do reverse stitch. Okay, so you just start sewing until the end. Don't no need to do reverse stitch. Okay, sewing my line. And then pull extra long threads. Okay, for this please keep the long thread. Okay, keep the long thread because later you'll be pulling even this side. Okay, now I'm going to do the second line. You see I don't have the reverse stitch. Okay, and you see compared to this tension is much more looser. Okay, because I use number 4. Alright, now I'm going to do the second line. Okay, remember no reverse stitch. Okay, and then pull, leave it a long line. Once you're done, you'll have this. Okay, 2 long lines on the left and also on the right. Okay, we will have this. So what do we do now? I want to make this length, which is A4 size length, into 3 inch only. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you see there's 2 thread, correct, coming out from this, the top part. You see there's 2 thread. Choose one, keep pulling. Same goes to the second side as well, the bottom one. Alright, choose one and keep pulling. You see gathers are being made. Alright, now we choose the other side. Okay, now we choose the other side as well. The top one, divide them. and keep pulling, and the bottom one as well. Choose one thread and keep pulling, pull together. Okay, create the gathers. Be gentle when you're pulling as well, okay, because you don't want to pull too hard and then the thread breaks, then you have to redo the process. Okay, so I'm just going to keep pulling, make it to 3 inch. Okay, oh, okay, you see they're coming in the middle, so I'm going to try to divide the gathers nicely. Equally actually, right, equally. Okay, let's check if we have like 3 inch. No, we only have 2 inch. We gathered too much already. Okay, so I'm just going to loosen them a little. I'm going to leave like maybe ½ inch on the left and right. Okay, I'm gonna leave like ½ inch on the left and right. Okay, let's see if we have 3 inch. Okay, we roughly have 3 inch. You see, because I decided to leave like ½ inch at the side, is correct, and then the beginning of the gather is here and the ending of the gather is here. Okay, so we have like 3 inch. If you can see my ruler, okay, we have like 3 inch. So once we have this, okay, once we have this, we can secure our what is this called, thread. Okay, we can secure our thread. Can just tie a knot. Oh yeah, I can just tie a knot. I don't have to tie a ribbon or anything. You can just tie a knot at the end there. All right. And also this end here. Okay, once you have the knot, okay, and all this is secure already, okay, bring your machine in and you can sew this line. But before you sew the line, remember to change the tension back to normal. Usually the normal tension that I use is 2.5. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna place my gathers under the machine. Okay, and you see I have this line. You guys can see this line right in the middle, the seam allowance line. I'm gonna sew on that line. Okay, so let's start sewing. And for this you can actually, okay, after you already change the tension, okay, now you're going to sew the seam. This seam needs to have, because this is normal seam, so it needs to have reverse stitch, because you need to secure, because the whole purpose of doing gathers, you want to secure these gathers, correct? So in order to secure these gathers, you have to do the reverse stitch for the thread. Just go on the line, and and then remember I say I'm leaving out ½ inch. Okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, and I'm done. Okay, can see the gathers? I'm already done with the gathers. Okay, remember when you're fully done, you need to do labeling as well. Labeling at the bottom here on a masking tape, referring it as gathers. Wait, let me get the masking tape. Gathers. Okay,